Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith and today we're doing a really special unboxing that has absolutely pretty much nothing to do with solo play. And this is not going to happen that often. So first off, I want to apologize for those people that are thinking this is a game that they can play solo out of the box. This is not one of those games. This is a game that you need to have 2 to 4 players to play. It is a game that's been around for a very long time because there's been a first edition prior to this second edition. This one is completely sealed and I was able to get it at a really, really good price. So I jumped on it. However, there are solo variants on Board Game Geek. So I kind of sat there and was like, well, maybe I can make something work of this. However, I am not making any promises whatsoever that this will be a solo playthrough in the future because the rule book is massive and I will show you that when we crack this thing open. So first off, I already like Lord of the Rings. So I have the Lord of the Rings LCG and I really enjoy that game quite a bit. That is something that I will probably in the future be doing a playthrough of, possibly the Saga campaign or something along those lines. But in terms of this game, it's designed by Arius Games. So it's actually funny that I picked this up recently because this is the same group that also put together Sword and Sorcery, which is pretty, just kind of convenient that they've got them back to back like that. But yeah, so this is a game designed by Roberto Di Miglio, which I probably just butchered, Marco Maggi Francisco something, and artwork by John Howe. Thank you, John Howe, for having a name that I can pronounce. So this is all about Lord of the Rings, the trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien, epic battles in the lands of Middle-earth. This is a massive game. I'm going to show you guys what's in store when you get this game, or if you decide to get it. That's what this unboxing is all about, so let's get right to it. Again, disclaimer to repeat, this is not a promise of any future solo playthrough with this one, but solo variants do exist on Board Game Geek. So take that with a grain of salt. So here's the back, just so you guys can see it. I'll do a quick little zoom in so you guys can see the kind of what's going on in the back of the box there. It says the War of the Ring has begun. You got a whole bunch of miniatures. This box is full of them. There's an extremely beautiful collector's edition for this game that costs an obscene amount of money, but is probably worth every penny. I can't and wasn't in the loop when it was doing pre-orders, I think a year or so ago, maybe more. But I've seen unboxings of it. It's amazing looking. But this is the edition that's the standard, normal edition you can pick up in most retail hobby shops, that type of thing. So let's just crack it open and see what's inside this monster. And again, take everything I say with a grain of salt because I have not myself actually been able to ever see the inside of this box personally. And I've never played it. I've just seen amazing stuff about it, and it's also rated extremely high on Board Game Geek, and I don't have many war games in my collection currently, and this is going to be one of the biggest ones. So here we go. Ripping off the plastic as always. Get rid of all that. Ugh. Looks pretty great to start. At least in terms of artwork, it's pretty fancy looking. It's all hand-drawn or painted is what it's looking like. There's a nice close-up of the cover without the reflection and things like that for you guys. So I'll put this to the back. We'll kind of tip this way. We can kind of go ahead with the unboxing as we go here. All right. So the first thing that you'll notice when you crack this thing open is, of course, the rule book. And it's decently thick. I know this is a big rule book. There is a lot of text and there's a lot of small words. The font in this is very small. We're looking at a total of, I'm surprised. It's actually not as big as I thought it would be. It's about 30, it's just shy of 50. So it's about 46 pages, but you've obviously got a glossary in the back and things like that. So it's not as big, but yeah, like it's a regular sized instruction book. I've heard rumors that this thing is obscenely massive. It's possible that the actual rules are insanely complex, and that I don't doubt for a second. But for the most part, just because of the fact that I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, I think I'm just going to fall right into this. And me and a couple friends who play on Monday nights are going to probably gobble this up and enjoy it quite a bit. So this is the rule book. There's nothing too fancy I can tell you about it because I haven't played it, but there you go. The first thing I'm seeing here is a punch board. So you've got yourself a bunch of numbers, which I'm Not sure what to relate to, but here is kind of the full scan. You got what looks like a bunch of items here, some rings, things like that, some daggers. Looks like you got some individual tokens to for particular heroes, possibly. Like it looks like Gandalf's token there, that kind of thing. And of course, you've got a bunch of Elvish numbering, I guess that would be, possibly lettering. I'm not too sure. And a couple other tokens that I'm not familiar with. And if you flip them over, it looks like you kind of got like that could be, not too sure what that is actually. Well, I guess we'll find out when I get further in. I'm not going to try to guess. This is a really, really cool thing with this game. Oh, and there's one thing I skipped already, sorry. There's Action Dice reference charts, so these kind of like hard cardboard reference sheets, which seem pretty cool. There's 2 of them actually, so that's really nice. I love reference sheets in games. They're called, this one called a player aid. This is great. You need this kind of stuff in a game, and the good thing about it is there's 2 of them, so you can have, one on each side of the table, whether you're playing 2 or 4 people. Everyone's got one within reach, so that's good news. We got one board here. Now the other crazy thing about this game is it's so huge that the board is actually split into 2 sections. And I'm going to show you as much as I can of those 2 sections on the table, but we'll skip the boards for now and move into just the box and its items. So of course you're going to get a ton of miniatures. Now the really cool thing about this game, from what I understand anyway, is that the miniatures within the game are very, very unique. You're not getting, this is not one of those types of productions where you're getting ridiculous amounts of duplicate copies of the same miniatures, but yes, you will get some of the same because it's a war game, but there are a whole bunch of different ones. Like you've got, let's see, I'll put a bunch on my hand here so you can actually kind of see them as I go through. You got some, looks like an orc, an elephant, you got yourself a you got a guy on the back of a wolf there. Let's see if I can find some other different ones here. Probably doing this off camera. Actually, you know what? There is quite a few that are similar. So I shouldn't say they're like, again, being that it's a war game, I don't think there's going to be tons and tons of. Well, actually, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just not digging far enough into the box, I guess. There are more of these coming out that I'm seeing that are different, but there's certainly a bunch of duplication as well. So I'll give you a close up of them as well. So you got like kind of like your. There's one dude there. He's got his big weapon. Another guy here. So it's obviously a mix of Uruk-hai and all that kind of stuff. I got some elephants. Not too familiar with the art. It's kind of hard to see when I've got that many. And the thing is, just to let you know, there's a ton of miniatures in this bag. Like this is quite a bit. You can see the pile right there. I'm obviously not going to go through it and name every single one of them. As much of a fan of Lord of the Rings as I am, I'm not going to try to name every single one of these characters because it's going to take me forever. So I'm going to put these to the side for now. And probably a bad idea to pour these out. We're going to probably need a Ziploc bag to clean it up. And let's see, the next bags are actually a little bit smaller, so there's not as many. That obviously was probably the majority of the enemy side of the equation. In terms of the ally side, this is probably the blue and gray, I'm guessing. This could be Rohan, I'm not too sure. I'm seeing horses. These are pretty cool, actually. Wow, those are really nice. Really good detail on those guys. So you can, hopefully this is zooming in nicely, but that's really, really nice. So these miniatures, even though there's tons of them, they're very, very, they look to have very, very good quality. And I think if you were to paint them, you would not be unimpressed. They look very, very nice. Very cool. So obviously a huge bag of these, of which I'm not going to go through every single one to put you guys to sleep. What I'm really excited about here is to crank this board open for you guys and show you this huge map kind of set up. But we'll keep going through what else is in the box. We've got a smaller bag. I'm assuming we're going to probably get into the hero pile here soon. So this is probably likely going to be people that we are going to recognize potentially. So we've got, wow, that's cool. So there's Gandalf for you, if that's going to focus in on him. Yeah, there he is, sorry. There's Gandalf. Pretty cool. I'm going to grab a couple of these little guys and we'll see how many of them I can stand on my hand. show you guys all the different characters. That's really cool. We're gonna have so much fun with this. I think being able to paint this game is gonna be really cool as well. Very, very cool. Let's see. So that's awesome. So those guys are obviously our heroes, and I think there's one actually. Is that Gollum? That's awesome. So there's a single individual bag for Gollum because he's that special, I guess. So inside that one little bag is this little guy here that we're all very, very familiar with, Gollum. Awesome. Very, very cool. Okay, so we're going to put all those guys to the side now. I'm going to have a fun time separating this all out. There's still one more bag. These I know for sure could potentially be, I don't know if it's Gondor, Rohan. It's going to be a mix of different, there's obviously the dwarves, but some of these could also be bad as well. Oh, then got the Nazgul, Nazgul, what is this? Wow, you got the riders. So you got the kind of the winged riders from the movie. That's crazy. Horsemen. So some of these aren't allies actually. Oh, look at that! So cool. You got the dwarfs. With this flag there. This flag. Well, so this looks like it's a mix of good and evil from what I'm gathering here. So this isn't. That's very cool. Oh, this is going to be so much fun to play. Okay, so then I'm going to put those aside now. Again, you can see a big pile of these guys. They certainly, I'm guessing there's got to be upwards of 200 plus miniatures here, potentially 300. It's a pretty large pile. It's going to be quite the mess to clean up later here. Okay, so we're going to take all those bags, put them aside for a second. And the next thing that I really want to focus on is what's inside it for dice. Hey, these dice look really nice. So, oh, there we go. Oh, these are really nice dice. So I love games that take dice to a custom level. These are really, really nice. So check these out. I can't stop dropping them everywhere. So you can see right here, very cool. Very cool looking. And they have like I'm not even sure what they're made of, to be honest. They're really light. They almost feel like wood, but I almost don't want to say they're wood. But they're really, like, they feel very light. But they're also very solid. Like they sound very solid, but they're also really nicely made. They're very nicely engraved. There's some high quality stuff there. That's awesome. Then of course there's some blue dice. And again, I'm really sorry that I can't tell you guys what the icons for every single one of these dice mean, of course, but I'm assuming these are probably rolled by the Fellowship potentially, who knows, but you've got a whole bunch of dice there. That's really cool. Wow, really nice. And then a little small bag of dice. I'm not too sure what these are for either. These are really tiny ones. These kind of remind me of Shadows of Brimstone dice, but they have these black circles on them, which I guarantee you probably don't want. It's probably a really nasty effect. So those can go in, and then of course you've got a bunch of cards, and these are like tarot-sized cards. They're massive. There's a whole bunch of them. I think if I remember seeing somebody go through these before in another unboxing video, I believe these have a lot of kind of story text to them. They're talking about the different characters, the different chapters that you're going through, that kind of thing. So they'll probably be more, instead of art, it'll be more substance. So I'll give you guys kind of a quick idea of what they look like. So you got like Gimli and Boromir, all the guys that we're familiar with from the movies, Legolas, Gandalf the Grey. Of course, you're getting stats with all these guys. You're getting some, it's talking about how they interact with each other. There's obviously symbolism here that I'm going to have to figure out in terms of their strengths. Paragon Took, Meredith Brandybuck, that's awesome. Gandalf the White, Aragorn, Gollum, the Ring Bearers, Saruman, the Mouth Saruman, the Witch King, Elven Cloaks, Ropes. This is awesome. This is going to be so much fun to play. I know that the timestamp on this game is probably between, I'm thinking on 2 to 4 players, I believe, if I remember correctly. Especially if you don't know what you're doing, it's probably going to run 4 or 5 hours. But if you kind of have, if you have an idea of what you're doing, and everyone at the table does, I think that goes down quite a bit. But it's still one of those games where you're going to play it probably on a Saturday afternoon, and it's going to consume that Saturday afternoon without any hesitation. It's a fairly big game. Again, in terms of the variant that's on Board Game Geek, I don't know that much about it, but again, it does exist. So there is something out there that will allow, solo play. The only thing is, when I took a look at that variant on Board Game Geek, I think that it was about 15, 20 pages. So it sounds like you literally have to learn almost another game just to implement the solo kind of addition into the game, unless it's just a lot of extra text that I didn't need to read. So it's kind of hard to tell whether or not there's even a glimpse of a solo in this. To be totally honest, these war games, area control games, are meant to be played with your friends, and they're meant to be played with you not knowing specific things, right? It's hard to play these games solo, so I imagine whoever put the effort in to do the solo variant probably put a lot of time into it. So these are looking like more items, or they could be abilities as well. You got Shield Wall, King Bran's Men, Swords of Arendor, and of course there's two sides. They're long cards. Their tarot size cards are quite large, so there's different things on both of them. Their backings, again, probably represent what they actually are, but again, I don't know what they are. And I don't know, these are obviously, when you get into the red cards, you're talking about everything evil on the Saruman side. Give it to us. Or Patrol. Isildur's Bane. Foul Things from the Deep. Candles of Corpse. Nazgul Search. Cruel Weather. Nazgul Strikes. All kinds. And there's just tons. There's definitely no lack of cards here. It's quite a bit. Now, there's also expansions for this game as well. This is just the base game, and from what I also understand, the base game is the only thing that particular solo variant that has been created works with. So, if you were to play the solo variant that is on Board Game Geek, you cannot, and thank goodness for a great insert. That's one thing I'd also want to mention. Good job on Ares Games for making an insert I can actually get things back into the box with, especially mini trays and everything. I like that. It drives me crazy when you get games like this that are this big, and you don't get a tray that actually can store it all back in without throwing trays out or whatever. So that's a huge plus. What I'm going to do for you right now, and what I was kind of talking about just a few seconds ago, was more so about the variant. Again, I'm not too familiar with it that much, but just took a quick look at it. It looked really complex. I don't know. I'm going to absolutely make no promises whatsoever that I'm going to be playing a solo playthrough of this game. But if you're interested in this game, to purchase it for you and your friends, if you're a huge Lord of the Rings fan, this is rated in the top 10 in thematic category on Board Game Geek and the war category on Board Game Geek. And that's saying something, because there's a lot of competition in that realm. And so it's pretty impressive. I'm going to go ahead here and open up the map so that we can actually kind of see how big this game really is on the table. I might have to zoom out here, so bear with me as I get these down. So here is the first section of the game board, I believe the far right-hand side. Again, one of these is the equivalent of essentially a typical game board. I'm gonna have to move all this stuff to get this to fit. I may not even be able to get it to fit perfectly, but I'm gonna have to bring the camera back a little bit. This is crazy huge. And again, if you've seen the anniversary edition, it's absolutely insane. It's very, very nice. So this is literally causing me to rearrange my entire table. But I will make it work because I want to show you guys what this looks like. Okay, that was quite the effort. Let's see how far I can push this before it goes off the edge. Okay, there we go. Wow. Okay, so let me see if I can zoom out here. All right, that is pretty large. I'm gonna move my tripod over. That is massive. That is an insane amount. And as you can see, if I zoom in here on any of the locations within the world, all the way down, we can go right down to Helm's Deep and stuff like this. Again, you have to deal with a little bit of the fact that there's a crease there and stuff like that, and you line it up a little bit better than I'm doing right now, but it's really, on a scale, it's epic. This is huge. I think you guys can see that from the size of this. I'm going to kind of lift this and show you guys how much further back it goes. It's actually kind of coming off my table right now, but it's very, very massive and looks very, very cool. Okay, so that's pretty much the unboxing for Lord of the Ring. Again, this was not anything to do with the components or content or how the game plays or anything like that. This is also no promise for me that I'll be doing any type of future videos for this particular game on the channel. Just wanted to show you guys this just in case you happen to have your eye on it or have been looking at it and are curious about it. But again, I probably and highly recommend you find friends to play it with versus playing solo. I think the true experience in these area control games are in a social environment, not in a solo environment. So it definitely loses some of its magic, I think, by playing it solo. Although, if you're creative and can come up with a variant yourself, share it on Board Game Geek, and you can try to outwit the others who have put their efforts into trying to essentially build something that can be done solo, but that's a lot of work. So anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed the unboxing. If you have any questions about the game, fire them into the comments, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them as I go. I'll be learning the game with friends, so I'll be picking it up fairly quick, but it's still a fairly lengthy read and things like that. But I do appreciate all the support on the channel so far, guys. It's been amazing to this point. I also want to mention that we crested over 1,000 subscribers about a month ago, I think, or about 3 weeks ago, and I just want to thank everybody for all the support so far. It's been insane, and I just want to let you know that this is going to continue. So hope to see you in the next episodes, and Gloom of Kilforth will continue along with Sword and Sorcery following very shortly behind. Until the next episode, guys, thanks for watching, and keep on rolling solo.